From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I am Jeffrey, and we have made it to film number 140. Film number 140 from July the 26th of the year 1979 is a film called The Unidentified Flying Oddball. I had never heard of it before.
Nope.
Not sure it was. I have no idea. I got nothing other than want to start us off with a synopsis about Deep Dive number 140?
Sure. An astronaut and his android double travel back to the time of King Arthur.
Yeah, I wish I had known that before the film started.
Did you not?
Oh no, because the title Unidentified Flying Oddball means we're going back to King Arthur's court. Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't think. Thought you would have read the synopsis.
No, you're the synopsis person.
I thought you would have read it before you hit play. I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
Any opening thoughts about a spaceship in King Arthur's court?
So, the actual spaceship is called Stardust, and the ship prop now resides in a very old fairground theme park called Blangang Chine on the Isle of Wight in the UK. And at one point, visitors could explore the interior, but now it's off limits. You can only look at the outside. It was a very interesting looking little ship.
It was a very interesting
I mean, it looked like
movie.
the Challenger, so I mean, it looked more like what I guess we have now, but I don't know.
Mhm. So yeah.
The movie is commonly known in the English language speaking territories by three titles. It's either known as The Spaceman and King Arthur, Unidentified Flying Oddball, or A Spaceman in King Arthur's Court.
I had known that too.
Sorry.
It's okay though. We made it.
And then I guess the film's English Unidentified Flying Oddball title makes the picture one of the few English language film adaptations of Mark Twain's A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, not to be named, with the title of something similar. Others include Black Knight in 2001 and A Night in Camelot 1998.
Yeah, this is definitely something.
And that's basically all I've got for that. So we can just
All right, let's dive right in. You ready to be confused? Because I am. The opening credits start. We are in outer space. There is a United States rocket that ends up just becoming a model. It's not even a real. We thought it wasn't the first, but it's not. It is a model, and they're in a meeting trying to pitch the space program.
Mhm.
They decide that no men or women will be allowed on this test flight. So they decided that they're going to build a robot instead. So this guy who was doing a handstand, who was in charge of some kind of space program, they end up telling him he's in charge of building this robot. So he builds this robot named Hermes that is in his likeness.
Mhm.
Did I miss anything?
No, he basically builds a droid that looks just like him, that could be his twin, and he was named Hermes after the god of speed.
Yeah, the god of confusing movies. Hermes is afraid that he's never going to come back. But so they are prepping the launch.
Mhm.
It is a launch that will be gone for 30 years. But while taking the robot to the ship, it accidentally lights and sparks somehow. So the scientist and Hermes, the twins, um, suddenly take off together.
Mhm.
I don't, it was weird. Did they get struck by lightning? It was like a weird,
I
I
don't even
couldn't tell you.
remember.
Whatever.
Something happened, and both of them ended up like he got locked in or something. And they're like, "Well, we can't do anything now. It's a lot of money, so it's just 30 years. Bye."
Yeah. So they are on their adventure and the power is failing. So then we cut to Camelot. Yes, that is correct. You heard that correct. We are in Camelot. Yes,
We time traveled.
that Camelot. It is the year 508. And much to the shock of the ordinary folk of Camelot, yes, that Camelot, there is an unidentified spacecraft.
Flying oddball.
He comes out of the ship, the scientist does, and he's wearing a spacesuit, and his people are very confused, so they take him prisoner to Camelot.
Hmm.
We meet Merlin the Magician. Yes, that Merlin the Magician in his second Disney film. I'm
And
not animated.
I hate to tell you, he legit looked like something that should have came off of Willy Wonka.
No, he looked like the kid from.
He looked like an Oompa
He
Loompa,
looked like the
but
kid
with the
from.
right
He
color.
looked like the kid from Roger Rabbit. The little kid that had like the one piece of hair on his head, but whatever.
He looked like an Oompa Loompa, just the wrong color. Telling you.
So Merlin, who also made an appearance way back when in Sword in the Stone, but
Mhm.
Merlin the magician is there. Um, the spaceman takes off his helmet, much to everyone's shock,
Mhm.
and then he begins to tell his stories of how he got there and science and Marie Curie and every single thing that would make Sheldon Cooper excited. But he bores the heck out of everybody who is
Well,
listening.
they're gonna think this is witchcraft, so I
Yeah.
don't know why he would have ever thought that was a good
He's
idea.
trying to explain himself. He ends up getting taken away and thrown into
But
jail.
he knows about history and how this stuff went down, so why would he have not thought, well, this is gonna make me look like a sorcerer? Anyway.
Whatever. He gets taken to jail. The lady earlier that found him, the maid, I call her. I don't even know what her name
I
is.
don't even think I wrote her name down.
She
With a
come
goose. A
what?
gander.
Oh, that's her father.
Yeah, she's carrying a goose.
Yeah, she's carrying a goose that she thinks is her father.
Yeah, because she thinks some kind of witchcraft happened and he came back as a goose.
Yeah. So it's this lady who's this maid who's carrying her father who was a goose.
Yes.
But she comes to rescue him to try to help him escape.
Mhm.
But then he talks more science, so she runs away scared. Um, while this dude is in prison, he finds the real this lady's father, not the goose, who is on like a stretching machine, and I'm sure it made his back feel amazing. But she thinks he's dead, but he's on a stretching machine.
Mhm. And later he makes a joke about because she describes her father and he says, well, he might be a little taller now.
Mhm. Oh, whatever. It's gonna get more confusing. The scientist is to be burned at the stake because this is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Um, and then he realizes that his spacesuit.
On timeout. This is the first Disney movie that references Playboy.
We're not there yet.
Oh, yes, we are.
They don't
We,
call it Playboy though. They call it something else.
yes, well, it's some kind of magazine that's supposed to be like Playboy. And they referenced it because the droid had it with him in the ship because the scientist says something to him about it before he gets somehow locked in the ship. But it becomes a running gag. Anyway,
Yeah, I guess.
you can go.
He realizes that his spacesuit is impervious to heat, so he puts his spacesuit back on. While they begin to burn him at the stake, the spacesuit begins to deflate. This crowd all cheers as they begin to burn him because, there's a bunch of heathens in this Disney film.
Hmm.
Um, Basically, his like bounds, like his rope around his arms, end up getting burnt off, causing him to be able to walk away off the fire, which
Get off
scares
the ground.
everybody.
he asked, he said, after the burning, may I have a word with the king? And the king laughs and says, after the burning, if you're still feeling up to it, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But he came out and his suit was inflated with air, like you mentioned. But did you notice after it deflated and he walked out of the fire, he was technically wearing a different suit because when he came out and they had him bound, it had like, I guess like an inflate, like like when you're gonna inflate like a pull float or something, how you have the adapter thing, the nozzle to blow into the thing. He had one of those like where his butt would have been.
Well, he burnt his butt.
Well, anyway, he had that where his butt would have been. And then after the burning, there was no black nozzle back there.
Oh. Oh yeah, that's the most confusing part of this film.
It gets better, people. It gets better.
So whatever. So they realize that they're gonna have to just kill this dude with a sword because Disney film.
Yeah.
Um. So
The page.
is that what you call the dude who?
The page helped him.
All right. So
But he said he
the
couldn't tell him because they would burn him.
yeah. Hold on. Um. The knight dude sends his page to go grab his sword so he can execute him, but then he ends up helping out
The space guy.
the space dude, and the scientist space guy is able to pull the sword from the stone, second time in a Disney film. Um, and then he smashes the sword.
He magnetizes
Yeah,
them.
whatever, he uses witchcraft for all I know, and he makes the sword magnetic through science, causing it to not be able to pull from its sheath, and everything sticks to it, and everyone thinks it's witchcraft. And a bunch of hijinks ensues with the sword fight, um, causing the knight to end up falling into the moat. Um, he keeps talking about going back to the current century. After he survives the sword fight, he's going back to the current century.
Mm-hmm.
Um, tells the king about he tells the king about the man in jail being tortured because he has the conversation with the king after not being burned alive.
Mm-hmm.
But when they go there, the guy is gone. So they decide again that the knight is like going to joust him to the death because again, this is a Disney film. Um, he gives the page guy, he wants him to help him escape, so he gives him the inappropriate magazine because again, this is a Disney movie. He arrives in the spacesuit to the joust duel.
Mm-hmm.
The maid tells her fake father, the goose, how handsome she thinks he is. She goes up to the guy and she's like, "Well, I have nothing to lose. I'm going to tell him how much I like him." She kisses the space helmet, and really, it's just the Hermes, the
It's the
robot.
most hilarious scene ever because it's like, I don't know. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
they're kissing through glass, but
that's the confusing part of this film.
it's not confusing. It's just hilarious. It's just like, are you really?
So, like we mentioned, the scientist is actually the
Well, then he
robot
told her,
Hermes from the ship.
"You're soft,"
Yeah,
and she's like, "I'm soft," and
it's
then she just walks off because it's
because
Hermes.
he's just like speaking whatever he's programmed to say.
He has no idea. He's just there.
Hermes the robot gets stabbed, and the bloodthirsty heathen fans all cheer because this is a Disney movie.
Takes his arm off first.
The real scientist comes running out. He presents proof that the knight is basically acting against Camelot and trying to like
Take over.
take over and get the land and whatever. He also presents a laser gun because why wouldn't we? Um, but they end up catching the maid and her goose father to try to like lure in the scientist dude, and then Merlin steals the laser gun, and okay, where are we? Merlin steals the laser gun. I know it's sort of all over the place, whatever. And then he ends up showing up into the castle on like a motorized vehicle that he took out of his spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
But he ends up following the con, and he ends up getting caught trying to find the girl. They end up threatening him with his own laser gun. He tells the maid that he likes her uh, in the way that only he can, and he tells her that he's like, "Look, my idea of heaven is to split a pizza and a six pack and watch the Super Bowl with her. Maybe a little smooch at the at the halftime, because she has any idea of anything that he's talking about." Um, did I tell you I was confused? But his armor ends up deflecting his own laser gun, and but it does cause a flat tire and making him not being able to escape. And the bad guys escape through a random secret tunnel because now there's a secret tunnel somewhere. Uh, the scientist and the maid escape their captivity by blasting through the air on a escape pod. Think about exactly like what you would expect a escape pod. Like literally, it's like they're on this thing and then
It's
they
a
just
thief that flies.
yeah. Because 1979 and Disney film. There's a bunch of battle hijinks that ensues. We can clearly see this dude's strings. You want to talk about it
Yes. So this guy is flying on a seat through the air.
with the lady?
He drops the lady off. He keeps flying through the air. He probably could have helped a lot more before, but I don't know. He just was randomly flying through the air and it made no sense of what he was doing. And at certain angles, you can see the four strings that are holding each corner of the chair up
Yep.
in the air. So, not the best cinematography there.
1979. But his jetpack begins to malfunction. Good thing he has those strings. Just kidding. Um,
Because one of the bowmen shot it.
yeah. This is where I wrote the infamous. I have completely lost what's going on in this film. Um, he has Hermes activate all the systems, bringing the spaceship to life. It ends up knocking everyone's over. The flight continues with science. But there's this big magnet that's drawing everybody in towards the spaceship, and even the scientist is being drawn towards the spaceship. But he ends up freeing himself from his suit, ending him in his underwear because this is a Disney film. Um, but at the last second, Hermes cuts the power,
Hmm.
and victory is achieved, I guess. I don't know. Somehow they win. So then they cut to the next scene where the scientist is getting a spot at King Arthur's round table. Yes, that
If
is
he ever
correct.
comes back.
That is that round table because that's what's going on here.
Hmm.
And he's like, all right, we have to capture this moment. And let me grab my camera, much to the confusion of everyone. They take a picture.
Say cheese.
Everyone is shocked because
Everyone is so confused.
science and sorcery.
Hmm. But he then told King Arthur, he said, "Here, keep this, because when Merlin comes back around, it's going to drive him crazy."
Bananas, he said.
Well, bananas. Basically. So it was a Polaroid camera. So the picture comes out and he shows it to them, but then he takes it with him. So that way, when he gets back to present day, he can show them, "I traveled back in time."
Yep. And he talks to the maid. He wants to show the maid Space Mountain,
Hmm.
but he's not sure if she would survive the trip
Hmm.
because they're going like the other way in time.
Hmm.
And then randomly she's able to get her real father back. She thanks him for sorcery, even though it was never a goose all along.
Hmm.
And then she writes a love note to Hermes, the robot, before the scientist has to leave. She's like, give this to Hermes.
Hmm.
Because remember, she kissed Hermes and not this dude.
But she really didn't. She just kissed glass.
Um, the spaceship successfully takes off in a very homemade takeoff,
Hmm.
much to the shock of everybody. And the blood-hungry crowd cheers this time for something good. The maid waves by. But then the Hermes ends up reading the note out loud, which states that she really does like the scientist best.
Hmm.
But he's afraid to take her with him because doesn't know what's going to happen to her. Um, but then they hear a noise and they look over and they see that the goose has snuck onto the spaceship and has laid an egg. So it wasn't a father all along; it was a lady. and but she didn't change a bit. And they're like, well, if she didn't change, that means the maid wouldn't change. So they turn the ship around to go grab the maid. And the Hermes is like, why are you doing that? And he says, to live happily ever after, of course.
I'm sorry,
That's the end, though.
but if he actually brought her to present day and she was terrified of the random stuff he did there, she is going to live her life with like mind-blowing anxiety for the rest of her life.
Like in the Shawshank Redemption.
It's like, are you serious right now?
Well, either way, that's the end of the film, and my synopsis was, what in the world, or in this case, the universe, did we just watch?
Yes, back to present day. Does this make your list? No. No, it
No,
doesn't.
and like we just watched like a really good movie, the North Street Irregulars or whatever,
Yeah.
and they're gonna follow it up. One of the films, like when you also like you watched the Apple Dumpling Gang Returns or Rides Again, and you like made that the list, and then they follow it up with this
Yeah.
unbelievably hard to follow. If you
Yeah.
thought my notes were confusing,
If
watch the
you
film.
thought
It's on
this
Disney
was
Plus though.
confusing, come back with us next week.
Hey, we're staying in space. So, but
Anyway, so IMDb rated this a 5.2 out of 10.
yep,
I gave it a 5 out of 10. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
it was
It
confusing.
was just okay. Anyway, um, it does not make my list upon a star. So my list upon a star is The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, 101 Dalmatians, The Parent Trap, Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again, The Apple Dumpling Gang, The Strongest Man in the World, Napoleon and Samantha, and Snowball Express.
Much to the shock of everybody listening, that I was shocked that we were going to Camelot. This does not make my list. So my list
Wouldn't have
upon a
guessed.
star is staying at number one, 101 Dalmatians. Number two, The Rescuers. Number three, Mary Poppins. Number four, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Five, Peter Pan. Six, Robin Hood. Seven, Alice in Wonderland. Eight, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Nine, Pete's Dragon. And 10 on the chopping block still, Babes in Toyland. But yes, we survived this. Um,
Will you
yeah, will you watch?
let us know?
I thought you were I thought the way you said that was like in the Tron ride at Disney World. Who are you?
We're going real sci-fi now, aren't
You know
we?
what I'm talking about though?
Yeah.
When she's talking about like in the queue.
Yeah.
All right.
I
So,
forgot how many times we counted it that last
oh
time
yeah,
I
it's
wrote
fine.
it.
Um, so it doesn't make my list, but I will say this.
Mhm.
Um, happy holidays for those that are watching along. Um, our next film is the final film of the year of this year for those that are watching along.
Mhm.
In when they come out, thank you. But it's also the final film of the decade of the 1970s. It's the final film of the 1970s, released December 21st, 1979. Disney feature-length film number 141. And we're staying in space and we're staying in sci-fi, and it is called The Black Hole. And if you need any sort of enticing to join us and watch along, The Black Hole is the first ever Disney feature-length film to receive a PG rating. We'll talk about it next time. But before that, again, happy holidays. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hope everybody has a relaxing and fun and memorable holiday. Much more memorable than this film that we just watched was. You can send us you can write to us on Instagram if you want to follow along on Instagram. Deep Diving the Magic. We are also on Spotify and YouTube where
Watch and listen along.
you can kind of participate in the actual videos here. Deep Diving the Magic, or if you would like to write to us, you can write to us at deepdivingthemagicpod@gmail.com. We have discussed maybe doing like a bracket um like a power bracket of all the movies from the 70s, all the movies from the 60s and stuff like that. More to come on that. But either way, yeah, we made it through this, whatever the heck it was called, Unidentified Flying Oddball. And we're back next time for The Black Hole, the final film of the 1970s.
All right. Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.